Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Victor Newman's first day on set, the moment Eric Braeden almost quit YNR forever. The Young and the Restless has delivered countless iconic moments across more than 5 decades, but few stories behind the scenes are as jaw-dropping, emotional, or downright unbelievable as the one tied to the very first day Eric Braeden stepped onto the set as Victor Newman. Decades later, fans know Victor as the indestructible titan of Genoa City, a ruthless mastermind who commands empires, dismantles enemies, and protects the Newman legacy at all costs. But what many don't realize is that the character who became the backbone of the entire CBS daytime universe nearly ceased to exist before he ever truly began. Eric Braeden's first day on set was nothing short of chaotic, tense, and emotionally charged. It was the day he almost walked away from the role forever, long before Victor had heavyweights trembling at his feet, before he married Nikki, battled Jack, raised Newman Enterprises to power, or became a daytime legend. This is the untold story of the moment that almost changed everything. It began with uncertainty. In 1980, when producers introduced a mysterious new character named Victor Newman, he wasn't created to last. He wasn't the larger-than-life villain-turned-hero fans know today. He was a short-term role meant for a brief arc. Eric Braeden, already a respected film and television actor with a long list of credits, accepted the gig with no intentions of staying long-term. But even from day one, something felt off. Cast and crew recall that his first scenes were unexpectedly demanding, both emotionally and logistically. Braeden walked in expecting a few conventional introduction shots. Instead, he found himself thrust into a storyline involving manipulative power moves, emotional intimidation, and a complicated dynamic with Victor's first on-screen wife, Julia. But the story wasn't the problem. The real tension came from behind the scenes. Eric was known for his intensity and perfectionism. He always wanted the character to feel grounded, layered, and human, even if Victor was initially written as a cold, calculating tormentor. When he arrived to shoot his very first scene, he found himself confronting a version of Victor that felt shallow, underwritten, and at odds with the direction he believed the role could take. As cameras began to roll, Braeden struggled to deliver lines that didn't feel authentic to him. Crew members remember seeing that rare moment where a seasoned actor becomes visibly frustrated. He reportedly pulled aside the director, insisting they rework the moment. According to insiders, this back and forth grew tense. Eric felt the character deserved more depth, the directing team felt the newcomer should trust the script. The disagreement escalated. Braeden felt worn down and misunderstood. He worried the character would be a forgettable villain whose presence meant nothing. Only minutes into his first day, he was already questioning whether this project aligned with his values. Actors close to him recalled hearing him say something that stunned them: "If this is the way we're going to do it, I don't think this is for me." Those words weren't dramatic, they were sincere. Eric Braeden was moments away from walking out. The YNR world was unknowingly on the brink of losing the man who would become the soul of the show. What happened next is the part of the story that longtime soap lovers still talk about in awe. Producer John Conboy, a man with a keen eye for talent and a deep understanding of the show's creative heartbeat, stepped in. He invited Braeden into a private conversation away from the chaos of the studio floor. Insiders say this talk changed everything. Conboy saw something in Braeden, an intensity that could redefine the show. Instead of dismissing the actor's concerns, he validated them. He told him the truth: please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Character could become anything. He could be as big as you make him. He explained that Victor Newman wasn't meant to be temporary, not if Braeden didn't want him to be. That potential, that promise of a character who could grow, shift, and dominate the canvas, struck Eric deeply. Braeden reportedly paused, took a deep breath, and reset. He didn't quit. He walked back onto the set and delivered the performance that convinced everyone in the room they were witnessing the birth of a titan. But his first day wasn't the end of the drama, it was the beginning of a transformation. After salvaging that nearly disastrous moment, Braeden began reshaping Victor from the inside out. His creative instincts evolved the role from a one-note antagonist to a ruthless but emotionally complex titan. He fought for stronger writing, deeper psychological exploration, and a backstory that explained the man's cold ambition. He asked questions that no one else did. Who was Victor before money? What broke him? What drove him? What did he fear? These questions weren't in the script, but Braeden demanded they be answered. Over the years, those answers would fuel groundbreaking storylines: Victor's traumatic childhood in an orphanage, his relentless pursuit of family loyalty, the emotional push and pull with Newman, his rivalries with Jack Abbott and the Chancellor family, his long-lasting war with the world when it threatened the Newmans. All of it began that very first day, the day he nearly walked away. Longtime YNR insiders say that the intensity he brought to the role that day created a ripple effect across the cast. It encouraged other actors to take bigger creative risks, dig deeper into emotional material, and approach their characters with new layers of complexity. Even Melody Thomas Scott once remarked that Braeden's arrival changed the entire temperature of the show. When she and Eric eventually formed the powerhouse duo of Victor and Nikki, it became the heart of YNR. Their chemistry defined an era. But imagine if he had walked away. There would be no Newman empire dominating Genoa City. No legendary Victor versus Jack boardroom battles. No Victor and Nikki love story that fans still defend as the greatest romance in soap history. No iconic one-liners, no deep booming voice warning his enemies, no signature eyebrow raise before delivering that unforgettable line, "You will regret this." The characters shaped the show. And the show shaped the genre. The moment Eric almost quit wasn't just a behind-the-scenes hiccup, it was a crossroads that threatened to alter daytime television forever. After surviving that rough start, Braeden made it his mission to turn Victor Newman into a powerhouse. He began collaborating more frequently with writers, fighting passionately for storylines that served the character's integrity. He became known for calling out any script that strayed from Victor's established moral code. Yes, Victor has won, even if it's twisted. As years went on, Victor evolved from villain to anti-hero to one of daytime's most beloved patriarchs. But through all the twists, fake deaths, hostile takeovers, betrayals, family wars, medical scares, and dramatic confrontations, Braeden never forgot that first day. It humbled him. It motivated him. It taught him the power of fighting for creative truth. And it solidified his bond with the show that would become his professional home for more than 45 years. Even now, fans still talk about how no one commands a scene like Victor Newman. He doesn't need explosions, gunfights, or elaborate stunts. One stern look, one slow turn in a leather. Born the moment he decided to stay. Behind the scenes, cast members credit him with "Please subscribe and like the video before continuing." Mentoring younger actors, coaching rising stars, and protecting the show's legacy. Many have said that YNR would not be what it is today without him. They're right. Victor Newman became the anchor of Genoa City, the man whose shadow looms over every boardroom, breakup, scandal, and scheme. And it all nearly disappeared in a single afternoon. Fans often ask Eric Braeden how long he plans to continue. His answer is always heartfelt, surprising even him at times. As long as the fans want Victor Newman, he says, "I'll be here." It's a promise he made decades ago, forged on the day he almost walked away. If that director's dispute had gone differently, if that conversation with Conboy had never happened, if Braeden had let frustration override instinct, the world of YNR would look nothing like it does today. The legacy of Victor Newman would have been erased before it even began. Thankfully, he stayed. And in doing so, he changed the trajectory of a genre, show, and millions of fans who tune in for one reason: to see what Victor will do next. His first day on set is now a legendary story of resilience, creative conviction, and destiny. The Titan we know today was born from conflict, crafted from passion, and shielded by an actor who believed the character could be more than a temporary villain. He was right. And the world of soap operas will never be the same. The untold truth, how Victor's mustache became the most powerful symbol in soap history. The Young and the Restless has produced countless iconic characters, unforgettable confrontations, sweeping romances, and jaw-dropping plot twists across more than 5 decades, but nothing, absolutely nothing, has become as instantly recognizable or as culturally cemented in daytime television as Victor Newman's legendary mustache. Yes, the mustache. The symbol that became bigger than fashion, bigger than character design, bigger than any soap accessory ever worn on daytime TV. It's almost impossible to picture Victor Newman without it. It's as much a part of him as his meticulously tailored suits, his chilling boardroom stare, and the unmistakable dominance he asserts over Genoa City. But here's the shocking truth many fans don't know: Victor's mustache wasn't planned, wasn't approved, and almost wasn't allowed. In fact, Eric Braeden's now iconic facial hair nearly caused a behind-the-scenes showdown that could have changed the entire face, literally, of The Young and the Restless. This is the explosive, untold truth about how a simple mustache became the most powerful symbol in soap history. Long before Victor Newman ruled Genoa City, Eric Braeden walked into his audition with a rugged look, part European, part Hollywood, and entirely his own. He had been filming action-packed roles and portraying hard-edged men for years, and the mustache was simply part of Eric's everyday appearance. When he showed up on day one to test for a short-term villain role on YNR, the mustache wasn't something he gave much thought to. But the producers noticed immediately, and tensions rose faster than anyone could predict. According to insiders, the show initially wanted Victor to have a cleaner, colder, corporate aesthetic, a man so perfectly polished he seemed untouchable. They wanted a smooth, corporate predator. Not a rugged European businessman with mysterious charisma. A producer allegedly suggested, quite bluntly, lose the mustache, before cameras rolled. Eric Braeden, known for his unwavering artistic conviction, refused. He didn't soften his stance, didn't negotiate, didn't budge. He believed the mustache added character, power, and a certain intimidating masculinity. It was part of his identity, and he intended for Victor to have one as well. That refusal set the stage for one of the earliest and most surprising behind-the-scenes battles involving a character who would eventually redefine YNR itself. The crew debated whether the facial hair was distracting. The writers debated whether a mustache made him too villainous or not villainous enough. Makeup artists wondered if it would cast shadows on camera. Network executives wondered if daytime audiences would find it too harsh. What no one expected was the immediate audience reaction. Within days of Victor's debut, women wrote in. Men wrote in. Fans couldn't stop talking about him, not just the character's authority and cold precision, but the look. The mustache. Comments filled CBS mailrooms. He looks so powerful. That mustache is everything. This is a man you can't ignore. The network suddenly found itself with something they hadn't predicted, a visual trademark that audiences connected with instantly. Yet, in the early months, the show still wrestled with the idea of trimming it, reshaping it, or eliminating it completely. Every few weeks, discussions resurfaced in production meetings. Should Victor Newman be cleaned up? Should he be made more traditional for daytime? Should the mustache go? Eric Braeden fought every single time. The debate became infamous behind the scenes, so much so that co-stars joked that the mustache had its own contract. In some ways, it did. Producers realized something extraordinary was happening. The mustache wasn't just facial hair, it was becoming a metaphor. A symbol of Victor himself. Strong. Relentless. Unchanging. Confident. Powerful. Magnetic. Over time, the mustache evolved into the embodiment of the essence of Victor Newman. A signal. A warning. A badge of authority. Fans came to see it as a visual declaration: Victor is here, and he means business. Whenever he walked into a room, the first thing the camera picked up was the sharp, defined silhouette of that iconic mustache, and with it came an entire legacy of intimidation, sophistication, and gravitas. But what made the mustache so legendary wasn't just its presence, it was how it framed some of the most famous scenes in soap history. Victor signing Newman Enterprises takeover papers with that deadly calm, his mustache shadowing a slight smirk. Victor whispering a threat to Jack Abbott with a curled lip barely visible beneath those perfectly kept bristles. Victor standing across from Nikki in one of their many emotional, devastating arguments, his mustache twitching with the micro-expressions only Eric Braeden can pull off. Fans studied it. Memed it decades before social media existed. Magazine covers featured it. Soap publications joked it deserved an Emmy. Castmates often referenced it as if it were a character of its own. And they weren't wrong. But the power of Victor's mustache goes even deeper. It ultimately transformed YNR's identity. Before Victor arrived, the show was filled with family conflict, romance, and social commentary, but Victor brought a new edge. A sharpness. A brutality softened only by emotional depth. That duality was mirrored perfectly by the mustache, refined yet dangerous, polished yet primal. As Victor rose from short-term villain to full-time patriarch, the mustache rose with him. When he built Newman Enterprises into a powerhouse, fans joked the mustache deserved a seat at the boardroom table. When he went to war with Jack, the mustache practically bristled on camera. When he fought for Nikki, the mustache softened, becoming an emotional barometer. And through every era, 1980s dominance, 1990s empire building, 2000s family wars, 2010s revivals, and today's modern battles, the mustache remained untouched. A symbol of consistency. Became a creative shield. It helped him slip into the character. It helped him channel Victor's authority. It helped him transform completely. Eventually, writers even began building storylines around Victor's look, subtle lines of dialogue about his intimidating presence, references from rivals about his signature style, comments from admirers who found him irresistibly magnetic. Everything tied back to that look, that presence, that symbol. When social media exploded years later, younger audiences discovered it too, sometimes as memes, sometimes as nostalgic callbacks, sometimes as genuine admiration for a character who commanded respect simply by walking into a room. Suddenly, the mustache wasn't just for longtime fans. It had crossed generations. It became pop culture. A rare achievement in daytime television. Even more surprising, Victor's mustache influenced real-world style. Men began recreating it for Halloween. Barbers referenced it. Some fans sent photos to Eric Braeden asking if they were doing it right. Actor colleagues joked that no matter what they did with their look, no one's signature would ever rival his. And here's the final twist in this incredible story. Insiders say the mustache is protected by an unofficial rule in production. No one touches it. No one suggests trimming it. No one mentions altering it. It's untouchable, like Victor himself. The reason is simple: removing it would break the illusion. It would disrupt the visual shorthand audiences have relied upon for decades. It would feel like a betrayal. The mustache is the character's crown. His armor. His emblem. It has survived network shakeups, writing changes, character shifts, time jumps, era transitions, evolving filming styles, HD cameras, and every storyline twist imaginable. It stood strong when Victor faced heart attacks, betrayals, kidnappings, corporate wars, family implosions, moral crises, and near-death experiences. It stood strong through the biggest romances, the biggest scandals, and the biggest battles. It is, without exaggeration, the most powerful symbol in soap history. The mustache isn't just hair, it is legacy. It is identity. It is the bold, unbreakable signature of a character who reshaped an entire genre. And perhaps the most astonishing truth of all is this: the mustache nearly vanished before it ever made it to air. If Eric Braeden had given in that day, if he had bowed to network pressure, if the mustache had been shaved off without a fight, the world of soap operas would look entirely different. Victor Newman, as we know him, would not exist. Newman Enterprises might never have become the empire it is. Jack and Victor's rivalry might never have reached cultural phenomenon status. Nikki and Victor's epic love story might never have carried the same emotional weight. The shadow of that mustache has shaped everything. And that is the untold truth, the mustache didn't just survive, it conquered. It became the heartbeat of a character, the symbol of a legacy, and the most unforgettable aesthetic choice in the history of daytime television. Victor Newman's mustache is more than iconic. It is myth.